So what are the current relations that HTS have with other jihadist groups operating in Syria? Because that might be helpful for them in getting external recognition by Western forces also nowadays. So how do you see that evolving?
I think we have to nuance between several categories of jihadist groups. I think we can make three categories of jihadist groups. You have ISIS, you have Al-Qaeda with the Tanzim Ras ad-Din, and you have some jihadist groups that are linked to Al-Qaeda, but that are not Al-Qaeda, and they are actually currently the allies of HTS. So regarding ISIS, the relation is quite clear. We mentioned it already. They're fighting each other. ISIS already killed high-ranking members of HTS. So yeah, it's not ambiguous. They're in conflict, open conflict, armed conflict. Regarding Al-Qaeda, things have worsened, as we already mentioned. The relation have become strained. There have been some clashes over ideological issues, over defections, over access to weapons, over control of the Idlib region, and the monopoly of force that HTS wanted to have, because Al-Qaeda criticizes HTS for its relation with less radical groups, the possibility of holding elections, for abandoning a strict Sharia law system. And we have to keep in mind that Al-Qaeda dogma doesn't have any plasticity. It's rigid. So if HTS went outside of it, then it's difficult to, there is no point of return. Also, Al-Qaeda criticizes Julani, Ahmed al-Shara, for having betrayed first Al-Qaeda in Iraq and then Al-Qaeda. So he blames him for being a traitor. And so, yeah, it's not a correct assessment to say that HTS is the same as Al-Qaeda now, because I heard some analysts were saying that they went too far to remain in good terms with Al-Qaeda, even if they had some small cooperation, pragmatic cooperation in the last years. The other issue, more complicated issue, is with other groups that are allied to HTS, that are more radical and that are linked to Al-Qaeda. For instance, you have Katibat Imam al-Bukhari, which is linked to Al-Qaeda, designated, and so on. And so the issue for HTS now is to contain this group. They are actually an asset with their discussion towards the West, because they can say that they need to have the control and to contain them. For instance, as they are containing the Firqatul al-Ghuraba of Omar Omsan. But it's difficult because al-Shara has a sort of very narrow room for maneuver. And he's walking on a kind of ridge, because on the one hand, he has to reassure the West at the risk of dissatisfying the radical groups. And on the other hand, he needs their support, and he has to make concessions to them. Otherwise, they break alliances, and otherwise, even some radical people from HTS may defect. So the path is narrow.